Okay, before beginning, I'd like to thank the Oak for hosting us this evening. And also, this event this year has a sponsor, the Sanders team. Jeff and Corey Sanders, please stand. Well, Jeff, it's okay if you don't stand, because you're most likely going to be dead in the next 7 minutes. Okay? This is a work of fiction. Okay? You may think you recognize certain characters, and let's face it, you will. Because I haven't changed any of the names to protect the innocent. There are no innocent at a Noir event. But please remember, this is a work of fiction. If this story offends anyone, well, that's just how I roll. No apologies given. Hey, Spencer, could you bring me a glass of water, please? My throat's really dry. Ladies and gentlemen, Spencer Duncan, your artist. Don't forget to take care of Spencer. He's working really hard tonight. And anyway, here we go. Spencer Duncan loved Oxford. I mean, what's not to love, right? It's got the best damn parking garage in the whole town. The best damn library in the whole state. And maybe the best damn Halloween parade in the whole country. Spencer was a bartender at the hippest joint in town. An unassuming guy, possessing rakish good looks and a laid-back demeanor. He was popular with both his female co-workers and clientele alike. Take the events of the other night. Seated at the bar was a very attractive older lady. Spencer thought her age could be anywhere from early to mid-60s. Long blonde hair flowing just right, and a still trim body that attracted the attention of every male at the bar, regardless of age. It was obvious to everyone not named Magoo that this woman must have been a knockout in her day. Spencer mused to himself as he made his way down the bar to take her order. I wonder if she has a daughter. Anyone with her genes is someone I'd like to meet. After serving her drink, the woman eyed Spencer lustfully and asked, "Young man, could I interest you in a sportsman's double?" I'm sorry, ma'am, but I don't know what that is. A sportsman's double. A mother and daughter three-way. Spencer was stunned. The thought that perhaps his dreams had come true. Had she been reading his mind? Well, I get off work after this Noir at a bar event. Can you wait around? She merely raised her drink to salute him as a response and smiled. Spencer had never cleaned the bar so fast after his show, and soon found himself following the vixen home. He was bursting with breathless anticipation as he followed her inside. She threw down her keys and hollered up the stairs, "Hey, Mom, are you still awake?" Oxford, you gotta love this town. Spencer turned tail and ran, barely escaping with his virginity, at least for this night. Corey Clark Sanders loved Oxford. I mean, what's not to love, right? There were great tacos to be had here, especially on Tuesdays. About 220 vape shops, if you were so inclined. And if you were lucky, you could occasionally catch a glimpse of that man-hunk Nick Sandoval running through the streets. Nick Sandoval doesn't jog. He glides. And it is a sight to see. Not that that mattered to Corey. She was happily married to her own bro-hunk of a man, the badass ex-Marine Jeff Sanders. Front half of the Sanders team, the wildly successful real estate business the two of them ran in Oxford. Jeff was a man's man, and Corey was quite content to let him be the face of the Sanders team. But everyone knew that it was Corey that ran the show and made things happen in the business. Real estate can be a dirty business. And truth be told, dirty business was in Corey's blood, given her south-of-the-border childhood. Corey had met Jeff when he was stationed at Fort Bliss in Texas. She was a Juarez girl, her mother a successful Juarez restaurateur, and her father an American border control agent who preferred the El Paso side of the border and never bothered to have much to do with his daughter or her upbringing. Life was hard for young Corey. The drug cartels ruled life in Juarez. The local La Linea cartel, whose jefe was Antonio Zavala Lopez, and the upstart Sinaloan cartel were constantly at war. Violence was an everyday occurrence, with the warring factions decapitating their rivals, mutilating their corpses, and dumping them in public places. It was rough growing up in Juarez. But Jeff rescued her from that life. He was her green card, and she was a devoted military wife. Jeff knew her family background, but she never discussed her past with him. Still, her family, at least her mother's side of the family, was never far from her thoughts. She found herself thinking of them now as she put her 3 kids to bed and headed over to the Oak for a nightcap. Jeff passed out and snoring on the couch. She pulled up to the Oak and thought to herself, I wonder where Spencer is headed in such a hurry. As he rushed past her out into the shadowy Oxford night. If Joe Biden has taught us anything, it's that every state is a border state, and every town is a border town. With drugs flowing freely across the southern border, Mexican cartels have become the greatest drug threat to the United States and to the Commonwealth. In fact, Pennsylvania has the 7th highest fentanyl death rate among all states. The death rate due to fentanyl is 2x the death rate due to COVID when COVID was at its peak. In southeastern PA, the Sinaloa cartel controls the drug trade, which means that the blood of all those deaths is dripping from the fingers of the shadowy Sinaloan who ran the distribution of fentanyl in the region, a man known only by the street name El Tio. No one knew his true identity, not even those in his drug distribution network, which is why Spencer Duncan was trembling in abject fear as he climbed the steps to the top floor of the Oxford parking garage. Early in the evening, just after escaping the Sportsman Doubles fiasco, Spencer received an encrypted text on his phone. The text read, "Midnight, tonight, you know where." Fear struck like a dagger in Spencer's heart. A summons for a meeting with El Tio would scare even the bravest of the brave. Spencer reached the top floor of the parking garage and stood by the northeast corner. The security light, which normally illuminated the staircase, was broken, leaving the corner as dark as the devil's heart. Lights from the Presbyterian church next door cast some dim light on the area, but it remained as spooky as a Joanne McLaughlin Valentine story, vampire story. Spencer hadn't been there long when a whiskey voice came out of nowhere and startled him to the point where he wet himself a little. I'm sorry, Spencer. The voice sounded more like a serpent's hiss than an ethereal being. Buenas noches, Spencer. Thank you for accommodating my request for a meeting with so little notice. Spencer thought, request, yeah, right. El Tio never requests, just demands. But he voiced, I live to serve, sir. He could now see El Tio's figure, face cloaked in shadow, standing remarkably close to him. Our joint business venture is doing quite well, no? Bartending gave Spencer ample access to the Oxford community and allowed him a wide avenue to distribute fentanyl for LTO throughout the area. But it seems like we could and should be doing better. My bookkeeping shows profits has not grown as fast as volume. Why do you suppose that is, amigo? Spencer knew full why. He'd been skimming a small percentage of profits for some time now. Just a small fraction, but the money and the temptation were huge, and he had fallen prey to the latter while enjoying the former. Look, I can pay you back, I promise. The blood drained from Spencer's face when he saw the barrel of a gun emerge from the murky shadow. I think not, amigo. Nobody cheats LTO and lives. Your time has come, senor. I have found a new distribution channel. Do you know how many books get checked out from the Oxford Library every year? Just a small packet of powder tucked into the due date flap inside every cover will grow my business immensely. Lucky for me and unlucky for you that the library director is more than willing to accommodate. Spencer knew his time was up. This was it. He saw LTO's finger tighten on the trigger. But before the blast, LTO's eyes glazed over, and then his head simply fell from his body. His headless torso remained upright for a second or two, arterial blood spurting from his severed carotids before it too collapsed. Spencer gaped at the body and watched as both LTO's blood ran out and his soul departed to whatever hell it was destined to go. Only then did he look up at the wraith emerging from the shadows. Rivulets of blood dripping from her auburn hair, a wicked smile stretching from ear to ear, and a gore-soaked machete held in both hands in front of her. She wiped the machete on her pants before sheathing it at her back. Spencer could only stare at Corey Clark Sanders, scourge of the Sinaloans, granddaughter of El Jefe Antonio Zavala Lopez, Sicaria of the La Linea cartel, the new kingpin, or in this case, queenpin, of fentanyl in southeastern PA, and Spencer's new boss. Now, Spencer, she said calmly, we aren't going to have any more of this skimming, are we? I'm thirsty. Let's go next door and you can pour me a drink. Shall we? Thank you.
That was Jake Kennedy, former library board member.